or probably delivering meals. Might have already encountered rain, but rain.
Okay, but we do have maybe one more coming, right? You think?
Yep.
All right. All right, Department on Aging, the June 26th meeting is going to be called to order. There's some things we got to get to, but first I think we'll do the roll call. Go ahead, Dylan.
Terry Collins.
Here.
Carol Zawacki.
Here.
Gloria Bortnicek. Russ Amo.
Here.
Catherine Judkins. Darwin Van Devender. Jeff DeCenzo.
Here.
Bert Fenby. Ralph Tillotson.
Here.
Carol Bolton. Chris Peoples. Alan Dickerson.
Here.
And Julie Hackett.
Here. Okay, I believe that gives us enough for what we're looking for. Before we get into anything else, we've done the roll call on the agenda. We have to make an addition. Kathy Judkins has resigned, and we do have to accept her resignation. So I need a motion and go from there. Movement and supported. You got it? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No. Now, speaking of the agenda, if there's any other additions or corrections, you should bring it to our attention. I don't think so, but if there is, let me know. That one? No? Okay, then we'll move on to approve the minutes.
Move we accept the minutes from the May 22nd meeting, 2025 as presented.
Motion made. We have support? Yep, Terry. Okay. We have a motion. Is it, I'll ask if for approval, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any objections? No? Okay. We're all the way down to our presentation. I'll let you handle it from there.
All right. Well, today we are going to, I'm inviting Barb Phillips to come and speak with us. Barb is our Home Services Director, which means that she coordinates all of our homemakers, PC, and respite care. She also oversees all of our assessors. She's going to tell us a little bit about what's going on in her world.
Okay. So currently for home services, we have a total of 21 homemaker aides that go throughout the county, providing light housekeeping, laundry, shopping for those individuals who are 60 and over. We have 7 personal care aides for the entire county, and personal care consists of bathing, grooming, dressing, any type of personal hygiene. And respite care is designed to help a 24/7 caregiver, and that has someone coming in to give them a block of time so that they can get out and do the things that they need to do because their loved one can't be left alone. Right now, we don't have any specific respite care aides. Both the homemaker and the personal care aides provide that service when needed. For the month of May, just to give you a few numbers here. We provided a total of 1,878 units, a unit being 1 hour of time for clients throughout the county. Of those units, 1,426 were homemaker, 401 were personal care, and respite were 49 hours. So in that time frame, that May time frame, we provided, we had homemaker services for 500 clients, personal care services for 99 clients, and respite for 8 different individuals. So at this point, we're actively recruiting more home care aides. We are lower than we would like to have, and largely that is due to COVID. I believe a lot of people during COVID were able to find other opportunities, be it online or in different different professions and they, are not coming back to in-home care services. So like I said, we are actively recruiting throughout the county and hopefully those numbers can increase in the future. Any questions?
Just a personal question. How long have you been with us?
I believe it's almost 20 years.
Okay, that should be noted, I would say.
Ross, as I've told you before, that's a math question and we're social workers.
She was 12
Pardon?
or 12.
Sure, absolutely.
Well, yeah, you were young. Just barely a teenager.
Yeah.
I have a question. If you had more workers, would your numbers go up? Do you have a backlog of people wanting?
We
to-
do have a waiting list currently. We've had a waiting list since COVID. So if we could increase the staffing
Yeah.
level, we would definitely decrease the waiting list.
And it must be hard to recruit. Where do you go to recruit people to do that kind of work?
It can be difficult at times. So that's one of our things that we're working on currently is different avenues to recruit. Right now we have I think I've seen 3 or 4 different Facebook posts regarding the aid position. So that has helped. We had 2 that were trained this morning, so getting them up and on the schedules and out into the community that will help immensely. Some of the rural areas are harder to have caregivers in those areas, being Morenci, Hudson, the lake area.
Thank you.
Barb, is it due to compensation, travel time, commitment? Where is the?
I don't think it's compensation because I think that we have a pretty fair starting wage. I believe it's due to the fact that all of the home care aid positions are part-time. And it's great for a working person or a working mom that wants to get out and do things when her kids are in school, that type of thing. But for somebody who's a sole support of their family, it's really not feasible.
Barb, each time you add one average employee, one average homemaker, one average PC, I
Mhm.
know that's actually 2 different questions. How many people do you think they impact? With one staff, how many clients do we impact? Ballpark.
Homemakers, it can probably be about 30. Personal care aides, because they're on a weekly schedule and some people want multiple times per week for a shower, of course. Who wouldn't want a couple times a week? That's probably about 15 to 20.
So in homemaker, if we have 100 people on the wait list, every time we add one person, we reduce that list by potentially a third.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So Barb, what are the qualifications for both of those positions, homemaker and PC?
The homemaker position is just somebody who's had some experience with in-home care, because it is different going from home to home and being in somebody else's area and their space. So I like to look for somebody that has done that in the past or has some experience. And of course, they need to know how to clean and shop and that type of thing. So it takes some maturity. The personal care aides, a lot of what we're getting or the people coming to us may not have their CNA license, but they have experience in like nursing homes, that type of thing. So that's what I look for personal care. That's a little bit more skilled.
Thank you.
Anything else?
What would you say is your greatest satisfaction in this area?
To be able to provide services that touch people that, they truly need to remain in their own homes and to help support those families that are trying to take care of a loved one at home. So that is the greatest satisfaction. And we do hear that a lot, that, we don't know what we would do if your aide didn't come, or, you made such an impact because we're able to get out and do the things we need to do when somebody's here taking care of our family member. So
Are these visits Monday through Friday?
Monday through Friday, between the hours of 8 and 4:30. And basically that is because the aides who are out in the field need to have support in the office. So if something happened, they would have somebody they could contact. Anything else?
No, other than our appreciation.
Well, thank you. And thank you for your time. And hopefully if someone that could utilize their services, or if you know somebody that might be interested in providing that caregiver position, we would love to hear from them. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Before we let Barb walk away, I think it is justified to acknowledge that Barb quietly does her job. You very rarely hear Barb's name because she quietly does what she does with great impact, balancing between those that are in their homes and have great need, and a staff that is also out in the world doing what they do. And so that takes a great balancing act, and Barb does a tremendous job of that. And we're very blessed that she is with us. So thanks for what you do, Barb.
Yes, thank you. Uh-huh. It's our second presentation of an employee, and I'll tell you what, we do have some dedicated people that are working for us. It's very good that you're doing this. Okay, now we're bound to your report, so we'll move on with you.
All right. Well, following from some things that you asked about last time, included in your packet was a statement. This is a statement that goes out to anyone who gets services from us. You will notice at the top, it says, it should say this is not a bill. That's probably part of the letterhead that got cut off, because that's where it is. This is not a bill. This is a statement. The statement shares with those who are receiving our services, what services they received from us in that particular month. We selected this particular individual because I think they get the most services that anyone could ever get from all of us. They're getting the meals, all parts of the meals. They have a homemaker, and they, in this month, received a ride from our volunteer transportation program. So you can see that we add in all of those units, what they look like, what the recommended donation is, and then at the bottom, what the true cost would have been, should that have been something they purchased from a private provider.
So this is an actual bill.
This is someone's actual statement. This is not a bill.
Yes, it's a statement. I'm stand corrected.
Yep. Each month we send these out with a donation envelope that they can return to us pre-addressed. Jeff?
I'm surprised to see, so this person got 63 meals in 1 month?
They were.
I mean, there's hot, cold,
62 meals.
62. So
Mhm.
they're getting a couple of meals a day.
Yep.
I didn't
We
realize.
we provide a hot meal. We provide the option for a supper sack. And we provide a frozen meals for the weekend, depending on their need and availability to
Okay.
prepare a meal. Not everybody wants all of those. Our focus is the
Yeah.
hot meal.
I was under the impression that they got 1 meal a day normally. Like in place of the meal they would get at the center coming in for lunch.
They get one delivery. They could get a hot meal and a supper sack
At the same delivery. Okay.
at the same delivery.
Oh, wow.
And then one day a week, they would get their frozens, and we try and segregate those throughout so that we're not overloading the driver to take out several.
A
at one
heck of
time.
a service.
Yeah.
So when we talk about those numbers of meals, that's what impacts those numbers higher.
If you go to it's coming up in her report, if you go back and take a look at the meals, site meals, the curb meals, the hot meals, cold meals, the frozen meals,
Yeah.
it adds up. If we're putting up, for a county our size, we're putting out a lot of food.
You know, that's probably a really good thing to point out, that we probably haven't spoken of, Jeff, on that piece is when you look at that hot, cold and frozen, that cold is that other meal. If you've delivered meals, you know that there are two parts. You get a hot package meal and you get a brown bag. That's the cold part of your hot meal.
Okay.
In addition, you might get a white bag that is the supper sack.
Wow.
And that's what we refer to as cold. Just recently, we added the piece on here about being able to accept online payments. It's growing tiny, tiny bits at a time. But that's something we haven't done in the past. And we have been able to do that for the last year. But this year, we're finally confident to really include that in part of the statement. So we've done that about a month ago.
I like the way this is worded. You know, it doesn't get in their face about you should be paying us. It's like, if you can.
Yep, every contribution assists. You can send a dollar helps. We have one individual who will send us in his envelope in the mail with a stamp, whatever he can afford to send us. This time he sent us 2 quarters.
Wow.
The stamp.
As you know, the stamp costs more than
Yeah.
the donation. But he's contributing as much as he can at that given time. So. As long as we're there on this note of our highlights, going down to the very bottom about our budget, you can see that we had a slightly larger monthly revenue than we have normally had. That's because in May, we received our local community stabilization share tax of $113,351. In June, we will see our millage funds be attributed to our account. So June will have a big bump. And hopefully put us fairly close to level again.
Is your year? Is your year October 1?
It is.
Okay. So we're just about ready to go in the fourth quarter.
We are just about ready to hit that fourth quarter.
Okay.
With that bump in June, Carrie, will that get you to the end of the year to be balanced or?
We'll be close.
Or close? Will
We'll
there
be-
be a shortfall or?
We'll be close. There's potential for a shortfall.
Because as I was looking at this, I'm thinking, okay, was that maybe amount a little over $1 million there, you know, from the tax revenue or whatever, but that's yet to come in June here, so that will help. But if you take a look at those numbers, kind of do some preliminary math, you kind of begin to think that the numbers of there's going to be somewhat of a shortfall. Exactly how big, I'm not sure. That's what my question is
There's potential for that. So our millage year to date, we received in June 2.9 million. So add that back in.
So of the 2 millages that you get, do you have any surplus built up?
We do. We do have a contingency.
and any shortfalls are pulled out of the contingency?
Yes.
I know in years past, we always had a little surplus, little surplus, little surplus. This year it's gonna be very close.
This year it's going to be closer than I'd like it to be. Yep. Which might be the perfect time to go to that budget sheet that I shared with you, which is our draft budget for 2026. There's a lot of information there. To wrap it up, I'll just talk for a little bit. You can ask me questions after you've looked at it. Personnel are by far our greatest expense. But then again, we're a service agency, so it should be. We don't have the people, we don't provide the service. And also, part of this is based on all the positions that we have being filled. And as Barb said, we're about half of what we could have in home care workers. But in potential, if we had more home care workers, then we would have more income coming in, some of that offsetting. So that's a give and take. We didn't put that extra income in because we can't count on that. But we did put in most of those positions for her. When we think about what's here, what's now, what do we do going forward? Every time a position opens up, we take an evaluation of what that is. The other big piece of personnel that we've had to factor in was we're not 100% sure what we will need when we have the centralized kitchen. So there is some duplication because right now we have been utilizing manpower and paying through manpower in order to fill our kitchen staff so that we're not holding someone in that we'll have to let go later. So right now, many of our kitchen staff are manpower and not true employees, but those positions are still on our books. So it's almost as if we have both in the pot right now. Until we open that kitchen and know what that's going to look like, we don't know how many staff we will actually need. And so we know over budgeted to make that work until we know.
But the budget amount is it, or the 2026 budget that you draft here, those positions have been as if everyone was in place to fill the shortfall of the people that are waiting for services. Correct?
Exactly. And we budgeted for manpower.
You did.
Or that as well.
So
Now, you had mentioned as well to kind of utilize a central, I guess, buying facility to get everybody on the same page and that kind of stuff. How much of an effect do you think that that will have on the 2026 budget by doing that? Will it save you anything?
absolutely. We have been really working to reduce that inventory so that we are not buying every center a case of something. The case will be maintained and distributed as you need it. We have a delivery to every center at least once a week, every day. They will get meals every day. So they don't need to have 5 bottles of dish soap. They get a bottle when the other one runs out from the main kitchen. So our inventory will be a lot less. We're not spending as much. We don't have as much stock. It should decrease significantly. The offsetting cost is that everything is rising.
Of course.
But we have moved to having everyone use the same coffee cups, the same coffee filters, the same plates, the same serving sizes so that we are consistent everywhere and reduce those.
And people have been receptive to that?
It's a journey.
I'm sure it is.
It's a journey. But in the end, in order to continue to do what we need to do, we need to be more effective and fiscally responsible. So that has helped. Jeff?
Mentioned staffing and services provided correlation. They need the people to give the services. But so the payroll is personnel expenses, 3.5 million or whatever. Do you have a split between administrative and actual direct service provider? Or a rough idea? I mean, I would like the center directors, they're direct. The
If
kitchen workers, the drivers, the home care, but
I can't tell you dollars, but I can tell you the number of people that are administrative. Dylan and myself. There are 2 that work in our finance area. And there's a secretary up front. All the others are associated with the program. Those are the only positions that are associated just with administrative costs, which are totally millage funded.
But in the offices, then you have somebody runs this program, somebody runs that program, but they're in the office. So how many people work in the office?
Well over 13,
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
but just those 5 are not associated
Right.
with a program directly.
Okay. That's pretty lean. Thank
Mhm.
you.
Harry, you had mentioned that we'll have 5 days a week for meals. That's not, Onstead is not included in that. Okay,
No, that will remain as it is today.
okay.
Great questions. Thank you.
Any other questions?
I have one other question. Go up to the revenue, the other revenue. What's an example for other revenue being brought in?
Hold up the paper you're looking at.
Okay,
Okay,
right here.
other revenue. Other revenue might include, we don't utilize all of our office space, and Disability Connections utilizes some of it. And so they pay us
Oh,
back the rent that we pay the county. It's also probably that, stabilization tax share at the bottom. It could be things like if we have employees that leave and had not vested their, retirement, they forfeit what the county paid in, so that comes back to us. We may have a workman's comp refund, what we've paid in and didn't use, and it will come back to us. Those types of things is what
Okay.
falls into that.
A little bit of interest income.
You didn't put any money in gold, did you?
I have not yet.
or the federal grants and the state grants, is that a guarantee?
No,
Okay,
those are based on what we think we know.
okay.
Just last week, we were released and confirmed that we would get this year's. Confirmed.
Okay.
Otherwise, we're almost ready for the third quarter or fourth quarter, and we've been living month to month.
Mhm.
So they finally said, yes, you will get this amount for the remainder of the year.
Who's they again?
Well, technically, the state of Michigan,
State of Michigan.
DHS, but our information comes through Wellwise.
Okay.
Our money's filter through.
My question is does the county own the building that you're renting?
Yes,
So the rent is coming and being paid to the county?
yes.
What do you think, Jim? Can you lower our rent? Just a question.
Got a couple of commissioners here that can lobby for you.
Yes, go ahead.
So am I to understand, if you receive a grant to begin in October, you're not guaranteed that grant year round? So is there a clawback or there's no guarantee that they say you're gonna get 500,000? There's no guarantee you're gonna get the 500,000.
Not until the budget is balanced and passed through all the filters till it gets to me. So what happens? What happens, at least on my end? So we write our grant, our RFP to, Wellwise. And we say, these are the services we can provide. These are the amounts that we would need to provide those services. Believe me, what we get from them does not even touch the bulk of what we do. We would do far less if we didn't have extra. And then when Wellwise gets the money they say, okay, we have this pool of money and it can be used for home delivered meals. it may come from 2 or 3 different sources. What they do is try and I would never want to do that job. Remember, I'm a social worker, not a math person. They try and figure out how to best give us the most. And it's divided between the 3 counties based on our population. So if the amount that filters to them doesn't match what we requested, what we actually get assigned could be less. And it's a 3-year, this one is actually a 4-year window. So what they told us on year 1 could change drastically on year 2 if it's not approved at the higher levels. So until it's approved and sent to them and their board approves it to be sent to us, there's no guarantee of what amount. When we're living month to month, every month, those numbers can be slightly different because that's what they got. Jim?
And speaking on behalf of Wellwise, so what Wellwise does, moving it on up the ladder, okay, is they just recently sent their implementation plan. You got a copy of that, right?
I will very soon.
Okay, I have a copy. If you want a copy of it, I'll be happy to get it to you because I'd like your comments on that for me because I'm fairly new at this. But anyways, so Wellwise submits an implementation plan to the state of Michigan. And then they're waiting for that approval. They have no idea how much money they're going to get. And then carrying it all on up to the state level, which Shannon and Administrator Murphy and myself sit on a number of committees up there. We have been told that the budget at the state of Michigan will probably be approved on the last day of September. Right now, the House has sent their plan to the Senate, and the Senate has said they will not even sit down and look at the budget until such time as they know what federal cuts are being made. And
Who knows, right?
with the current administration there, when will we ever know that?
So Wellwise faces the same dilemma she's facing.
Pardon me?
Wellwise faces the same dilemma she's facing. that
Right, absolutely.
We're gonna give you this much, maybe.
Yep. And that's why they say to us, you might get this much, maybe.
And they're depending on, they put it together as an implementation plan, but then they have to have approval, and right now they're saying October 1st,
We hope.
hopefully.
So sometimes these numbers are fluid.
Well, I applaud you for all the work that you do in balancing that and keeping this organization healthy.
Well, thank you for that.
You've been here a few years too.
Yes.
They should give you a raise now, Carrie.
I can't afford it, Jim.
Okay. There's nothing else that way. We're going to then go on to existing business, which maybe we could get a little update on what's happening with that kitchen that we've been talking about.
Well, it's pretty exciting. It's coming along. It's starting to look real. I'm hoping that the floor was done this week, which means equipment should be coming in sometime after that. We have a tentative plan of moving in sometime the end of September and being up and running by the 1st of October, at the 1st of October, sometime early in October. But that's our tentative plan at this point. That's our time frame. So it's very exciting. And if you say to me, it takes we're down to 3 months, then I get a little nervous. So we'll just use October. But it is exciting. There's a lot of moments that we say, ooh, we haven't thought of that yet. But we've got a good team around us. Administration is incredibly supportive and answers those questions when we have those moments of panic. But I think we're doing it. We're going to be there, and it's a lot of unknown. But my hat's off to Connie, who seems to be able to hold it all together as our nutrition person and continue to look at everyone and say, yep, we're going to do this. I don't know that answer, but we're still going to do this. We can make this happen. So it's coming.
Any chance we'll get another tour before this?
I'm hoping that we have an empty tour, yes. before we're actually in it.
Any questions there? None? Okay, existing business is gone. We're down to new business. Is there a new business?
I don't know. I did neglect to share with you that our annual review happens in July this year. So this month, we're putting things together and getting ready for Wellwise to come and visit us. They are actually looking at our 2024 numbers and information. So it's not what we're doing today, but what we did do. But I'm confident in what we have done, so it's not really too much of an effort. It's just a matter of getting all our ducks together.
Got it? All right, no public, so I don't see a public unless anybody wants to make a comment on the public side. No? We're down to the board member comments. If there's anything anybody wants to talk about.
Yeah, I have one.
Go right
I have a
ahead.
question. For anyone that doesn't know, I'm Onstead resident and we did a casino trip in June, the beginning of June, and it was quite successful. But I just got notification we can't do it anymore. Is there something in the bylaws or anything written down that we can't do it? Harry?
I don't think that there is. That's just associating the Department on Aging with gambling is something we have long stood as we don't do it. And so I'd like to continue that. We don't do that. Even if it is for a fundraiser, that's not what we are, who we are.
Okay. All right, I could see that, but it was quite successful. And they had a good time. I know that.
And wouldn't have happened had it been asked prior to it occurring.
Okay, I don't know anything about that.
Yes.
So,
Saying
okay.
you did a fundraiser with a trip to a casino.
Yes, we sponsored a trip to the casino. And our president, Judy, she took care of everything because she had done this in the past and took care of like getting the bus, getting snacks and everything and I was a little doubtful at first when she said, well, we could fill a bus. And I'm saying, whoa, that's like 50 some people. But there was a waiting list. And we picked up in Tecumseh, Onstead, and Brooklyn, and the bus was full. And they had a good time. I know that.
And you raised money
And we raised money
for,
to put in our treasury to have, like, if Onstead wants to go, like, maybe to, let's say, Turkeyville, we can do that for our seniors at Onstead.
I see, okay.
So,
For a minute, I thought you said you went to the casino and all the Carrie's worries are over.
I wish that was true. I wish that was true. I didn't win. So, okay.
Any other comments? Well, we're down to adjournment.
So move.
Moved and supported. All those in favor of adjournment, say aye.
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 Any opposition? No. Thank you, everybody, for coming and very interesting meeting.